Buying wrecked cars is really tough. In a split second, during an accident, hundreds of parts can be destroyed beyond repair. But to my naked eye, all I thought I needed to fix this Ferrari was some panel bond and aluminum foil. So I took some time off from salvage to try my hand at something different, something I figured might be easier, and that's cars that have been really neglected. In some cases, these fixes have been easy, like a single loose wire on my M3 that was causing all sorts of electrical issues, but a lot of times I'm left with something beyond repairable, like in the case of my M5 and my Range Rover. I've been both burned and rewarded almost equally buying at auction, so why do I still do it? It's very confusing as what I should pursue here. Put yourself in my shoes. If you were buying based solely off a handful of photos, would you rather gamble on something that has visual crash damage so you have an idea of at least what needs to be fixed? Or would you rather risk it on something that looks cosmetically sound but doesn't run? This Audi TT kind of falls in between the categories here. According to its paperwork, it was taken by its owners over a year ago. It was a repossession. Mechanically, it was pretty neglected. As we documented, one failed $80 motor mount cost at least several hundred, if not $1,000 worth the additional damage to other components, and cosmetically it is pretty poor. It's clear coat of sun damage on the roof, the headlights are yellowed over, and it clearly hasn't been cleaned in a very long time. Luckily, we were able to repair most of the mechanical issues in about a day, and I've got a few quick tricks to help us restore the look of this car in no time, which is important as I really don't plan on keeping this car around long, so it's good to be conscious of the time that I put in. In this business, time is money, and I found the best way to save money on your time is by wearing a Filippo Loretti watch. Filippo Loretti watches are crafted from premium materials by world-class watchmakers in Switzerland and Japan. Their unique luxury design were backed via a Kickstarter campaign that raised over $10 million by watch fans and collectors. Each collection is limited and numbered. I got this green chronograph Pilot back in March, and now it's completely sold out. My latest pick, the Ascari Chrono with the blue camo strap, is limited to just 2,020 pieces, and as you can tell, it's extremely detailed from the face to its caseback and even the stamping on its strap. Whether you're into sport or chronograph, skeleton or moonface, Filippo Loretti has a watch that'll fit not only your style, but also your budget. And right now, when you click the link in the description box and use code SAMCRACK70 at checkout, you're going to save up to 70% off your very own Filippo Loretti timepiece. On top of that, the first 500 people to utilize my discount will also receive a $50 gift card. And Filippo Loretti is committed to making sure you're satisfied. That's why they offer a full 90-day money-back guarantee on any timepiece they sell. The deal is outstanding. The quality is excellent. I highly suggest you click the link and check out Filippo Loretti. Of course, I got to give them a huge thanks for sponsoring this video. Very short period of time, we've already transformed the look of the front end of the car with the cleaned up headlights, and of course we made our dingy roof look amazing. But you could see that compound just shot everywhere. That's one of the things about a rotary buffer. Unless you're extremely careful, it's tough not to make a mess. This is no big deal because it's still a short period of time after we use that compound. You don't want to let this sit on there for ages. What we're going to do right now is just rinse the car, and then we're going to use our soapy water as a lubricant for our clay, but we're not going to use clay. This tub of plumber's putty with 14 ounces in it, I think costs a little bit over $2. It looks just like clay. It acts just like clay. We're going to utilize it just like clay. And if you compare it to a price of a clay bar that you get at the auto parts store, I think it's like 90% cheaper to buy the plumber's putty. So this is really good, especially if you've got an old car, it's been neglected like this, or you just haven't really cleaned it very well in the last couple of years. If you got a new car, clay is not super necessary, but this will really strip all the contaminants off the surface. As you're using the bar, you'll feel it just stripping dirt and grime, and you'll be surprised at how clean this car looks when it's done. Also, it's gonna help us get rid of any stubborn, dusty compound that's stuck. So all we're gonna do is get the car again wet with a little bit of soapy water. That's gonna be like our lubricant. And then we just swipe the plumber's putty across the surface. And just watch, this car just had that light wash before we did anything. That's just a little area. You see all the discoloration in there? That's all the dirt and grime that's stuck to the surface of the paint here that's coming off on the plumber's putty. So I'm gonna go ahead, strip this car's surface, and then we're gonna get it ready for a ceramic coating. In only about an hour and a half's time, we've removed years worth of road grime, the dinge and neglect on our Audi TT. It's ready to get an application of our Armor Shield 9 ceramic coating. What I like about this so much is that it was made for the DIYer. It's super simple to install, and the reason why I always use it the first time I clean my car is because I don't get a lot of time to clean my cars, and in the future when we go to wash this car, we'll make things much quicker, much easier, and it will always come out pretty much looking the same with a deep glossy shine. Remember the roof on this car? I thought for sure the clear coat was done on it. I can't believe how it turned out. Now this car is far from perfect, but that's okay. Again, this to me is time saver in a bottle. Once it's applied, it keeps your car looking amazing for a couple years. And again, you're just gonna see water sheets off of it. Bugs don't stick to it. Let me show you how easy it is to apply this stuff and the final result. Since we sanded the surface off this headlight, we made this headlight look brand new, but it won't stay looking like that for long if we do not protect the lens here. You see, when we sanded it, we took the top layer off and it will just oxidize again and turn yellow very quick in the sun. Now I'm gonna seal off and protect the headlight lens with our Armor Shield 9. This is very good. And again, it lasts minimum of like a year on your paint and body, up to a couple of years. You could use a wax or a sealer, but you're gonna have to reapply those every few months. I like to apply a lot of it, especially on the headlights. We want a really coated surface. And again, we're gonna let it cure. All of our painted surfaces, plus our headlights and our front grille, have been coated by our Armor Shield 9. And that was 4 or 5 days ago. Been parking the car outside, albeit we've had some decent weather. We had one night where it rained slightly. I'm just showing you how clean a ceramic coating can really keep the paint of your car. And the other big thing here, the front grille that I did, if you use just some plastic trim restore, the second you get a little bit of rain or sun, that stuff usually kind of goes away. This is pretty much permanent, again, until it wears off. Ceramic coating lasts generally between 1 to 3 years, depending on how you condition the car after. Of course, we got to do the hose test so you can see how well the paint now repels the water. Look, it just sheets right off. The grille, the headlights, same thing. Doesn't stick anywhere now. Now there's tons of different products that contain the word ceramic in the title, especially when it comes to cars. I've seen ceramic engine additives, ceramic window tint, and I can tell you that when it comes to ceramic cleaning products, there's probably hundreds of them, soaps and sprays. But the difference between a soap or a spray and an actual coating is the longevity of it. The coating generally will cost a bit more, but when it lasts for years versus a month or two, it's a big difference again when it comes to the time-saving aspect. I've been ceramic coating my personal cars even way before I was making YouTube videos. I remember buying it when it was sold in just a little syringe. You got like a quarter full syringe for a couple $100 because it was just marketed to professionals. So a professional would buy it for a couple $100 and then they would upsell it with installation to their customers. And Avalon King has kind of come in, squashed all the misinformation about ceramic coating and provided it direct to the consumer. So one bottle of Armor Shield 9, I think is about $40 or $50, and the more you buy, the more they discount it. One bottle is totally good enough for a mid-size and probably even a full-size car. It's when you start to do the little detail stuff like the wheels or the grills, if you're going to do the headlights, or if you're going to do your plastic trim under the hood or your windows. You can ceramic coat whatever you want on the car. Just remember, you're going to use a little bit more every time. I'm pretty sure this is the case. Someone over at Avalon Kings can fact check this, but I think I was the first one to test out Armor Shield 9 on YouTube. I did on my blue Jaguar a few years ago, and when I heard that you could buy a bottle of ceramic coating under $50 versus, again, what you got half of what Avalon Kings gives you for $200, I was really keen to try it, and it works just as good in my experience. So I recommend you check them out, especially if you're like me, short on time, wish you could clean your cars more often. This stuff really keeps your car clean for a long time. I'm gonna drop a link to Avalon Kings down in the description box. I'd be on the lookout for a Black Friday sale this time of the year, and they definitely got a winner with their Armor Shield 9. So now that the Audi is clean, we got to get it out on the road with its new suspension repairs and upgrades and see how it does. I'm telling you, I've been driving it. This car is a ton of fun now. I want you guys to consider one thing. This car is over 15 years old. It's got one of the first dual clutch transmissions ever put in any car. Now this S model basically tells the computer to do all the work, and it works so good. And I'm gonna just show you right now. We've got a little bit of a straight and then the curve in front of us. I'm gonna just mash the gas and let it do the shifting. Look at how good it is. It picks the right gear for the right moment. Used the paddle shifter once this entire time. Look, we've got a little turn in front of us. We were slowing down. I'm just giving it throttle and letting it do all the shifting for me. Theoretically, if your car was programmed for launch control, you just turn your ESP or your traction control off. You can see we've got it off right there. You'd shift the car into S mode, which is really the best for letting this car just bang off shifts on its own. It's probably the quickest way to get to 60. Hand on the wheel, since we don't have real launch control, I'm just gonna brake torque it a little bit. From the outside of the car, it looks so uneventful, but I'm telling you, from the inside of the car, it's really fun and it feels pretty quick. Is a very cool car on the road. This is not a TT. Let me see if I can get a quick video of this. This is unreal, if that's a real car, not a replica. Yeah. This is easily the best first generation Audi TT. A lot of people argue that. They said that the 225 horsepower Quattro model is better than this. It's definitely more moddable than this, but it just doesn't feel like this car. With the dual clutch transmission, with the VR6 engine, with the bigger brakes, this car handles awesome, especially with our upgraded suspension. The suspension in this car for $1,000 is a monumental upgrade over stock. Considering how much we lowered the car from factory, this thing rides incredible. Now, it's not super stiff, and a lot of people equate stiff with sporty. That's not the case. This is what I would call very compliant, and it's easily as comfortable as the factory suspension. I think it rides better than the factory suspension. I mean, it just takes the bumps in the road, soaks them up, and keeps going. Remember how dingy and disgusting all this looked before? Now it's all perfect and clean. I did want to show you one quick thing that I had to fix. If you remember when I got the car, I told you that it felt like it had no brakes. On the brake booster here, we've got a hard line, and then it connects to this soft line right down here. Well, when the engine dropped down, this hose clearly is connected to the lower part of the engine. It fell, just yanking it out of place. So I put this twist clamp here to keep it secure. I don't know if there was anything keeping it secure before because it wasn't there, but it was just completely disconnected and hanging in there. And that's our vacuum assist for our brakes. So now with it back, the brakes are back to normal and we don't have any funny idling issues because there's no more vacuum leak. I usually give you guys a quick price breakdown of what these projects actually cost. I told you this is a great car for $5,000. And I told you before, the initial purchase price was around $3,000. With fees, it was probably a couple $100 more. But we got to $5,000 pretty simply with this car. $1,000 for a coil over suspension upgrade, and there was another $1,000 put into maintenance and repair parts. The fluids for these cars aren't cheap. DSG fluid by itself is over $100. Haldex gear oil is probably 50 or 60. Oil. I had to put some power steering fluid. That stuff is like $30 a tin at the auto parts store. So that adds up very quick. I did also, though, buy a set of coils and plugs as they're known to go out on these VR6 cars. This one runs pretty good, though, and there was no oil leaks when I was underneath it and we were taking that bracket out. So overall, the drivetrain on this car is pretty decent. If I do return the coils and spark plugs, I can reduce the price by about $400, which again would make this under $5,000. But right now, a safe price on this car, if you wanted to replicate something similar to it, would be around $5,000. You notice while I was driving, the headliner and the TT was missing. If you remember when we got the car, the headliner was sagging so bad it would rub the top of my head while I was driving. Zach came over, he helped me rip it out, and right before I went on the drive, I glued it. So it's sitting inside the barn here, just drying. That stuff dries pretty quick. So once the headliner is back installed, I'm going to do a few fluids on this car probably. I already did the oil on it, and then it should be good to go. This is an extremely fun car for just $5,000. The same thing cannot be said about the 4-cylinder TTs, at least in my opinion. But I still have one problem with it, and it's really just a personal problem. I have too many cheap and fun cars, so this one is probably going to get out of here. I don't see myself keeping it very long. And I'm also going to take a break from the cheap, neglected cars. We've got a Ferrari that's been sitting in that barn. Been dreading the repair bill on the clutch, but I found an incredible solution that's going to bring down the price of our cost replacement quite a bit, and it's actually going to be upgrading the car, kind of like we did with the suspension on our TT. So coming up very soon, we're finishing this Ferrari. Zach and I have been working hard behind the scenes. The whole entire interior has been redone and all the OEM trim, and I can't wait to show you what it looks like. If you're excited about getting back to work on the Ferrari, be sure to hit that like button. Also, if you're not already following me on Instagram, I'm announcing any new projects or progress to current projects before anything goes live here on YouTube. Well, visit me right here. Click the link in the description box below. And as always, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching today. I'll catch you very soon.